In the year 2028, one Big Mac will equal $1 million. From the Gospel of John McAfee. Bro, just learn to code. The Project Freedom Podcast.
Boom. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. I'm Josh, better known as Eat Lift Program, and this is the Project Freedom Podcast. Fellas, I feel so much better today. My God, I feel like I'm actually back to normal, like 100%. So, and thank God for that. But tonight, nightmare mode. What is nightmare mode? Well, don't worry. We're going to talk about that in a second. Can you guys hear the audio all right? I have this. I'm trying to get the mic situated to where it's far enough away from me as possible, and I can still use it. And actually, guys, the threading, the female input for this mic is like loose because, well, I manhandled it a little bit. So hopefully you guys can hear me right. If not, whatever, we'll figure it out. Right, guys? All right, guys. So nightmare mode, what is that? It's actually a term coined by Alex Beckard. And regardless of how you feel about that guy, and you know, people feel all kinds of types of way about that guy. I'm not here to talk about him as a person or anything like that, but I will say he coined the term nightmare mode. Okay, so I got to give him credit for that, right? Because credit's due where it's deserved. But I resonate a lot with I guess you could say the philosophy behind that. And yeah, I think that, like, honestly, that's like that, and you guys don't even know what that is yet. We're going to talk about that, right? But I feel like, quote, nightmare mode, end quote, that's the only thing that somebody can do to 100% guarantee a specific outcome in regards to achieving a goal in life. All right. Now, what am I going to say, or what I'm going to explain to you guys tonight about what this thing is? And it's not this like awesome, cool. It's not like you drink a potion or whatever, and then all of a sudden you inject a bucket of Trin, and then all of a sudden you get all your goals, right? Because you guys know it doesn't work like that. But the stuff that I'm going to say is going to sound to the average person, to a normie, a little unhealthy, okay? And fact of the matter is, you could definitely consider it to be that, right? So what is nightmare mode? Nightmare mode is basically, if you go by what his definition of it is, basically like sacrificing almost everything in your life except for the things that put you in a positive trajectory towards going and getting that goal that you want. All right. And when I say everything, I mean literally everything. Cody Moose in the Who says yes. Yes. Arthur says C. Sam says da. Nick Sledging in the house says, if MLD is a supreme leader, what kind of leader is Josh? Here, you want to know what kind of leader Josh is? Here, I'll show you right now. I will show you. Would you like to see? And guys, I'm glad Nick asked that question because I actually wanted to ask people to follow me on this. Where it be at? Josh is how do I go to profile? Josh is the supreme Guava Overlord. Guys, follow me on Twitter. This is like my first Twitter account in like a long time. I made this account back in September just because I wanted to have something to keep up with all the degenerate tweets out there with as far as news goes. But I actually wrote in my notes today, guys. You want to see? And Nick, I know you know this because I was talking to you about this. Where is this? I wrote in my notes. No, that's it. That's not it. That's not it. ELP Twitter. All right. You guys probably can't see that. ELP Twitter. All right. So I didn't really do a whole lot of explaining in those notes because I didn't have to, because I know what that means. But yeah, it's basically, I wanted to be a lot more active on Twitter and actually use it, which I might regret that probably pretty soon. Because honestly, guys, I really don't like social media. I'm not like, I don't mean to be like one of those people that's like, social media is bad, man. It's not because I mean, it is bad, but it's not because I think that it's bad. It's just keeping up with social media is just fucking annoying. Totally annoying, to be quite honest with you guys. But yes, I am the supreme Guava overlord. Riley says, just popping in real quick. But yes, I agree with the title. I always am. Holla, Josh. I'll catch playback. Yeah, dude. Good to see you in here. My brain no work today, Cody Moose and the Who's. Is it just now kicking in, Cody? Don't worry. You'll be okay in a couple days, bro. Wade Emery says, good evening. Good evening to you too. Tom says, sup, dudes? Listening from the gym. New year, new me, quote, LOL. Oh, God. How many of those people are in there right now, Tom? Nightmare Mode sounds great. Yeah. Like, so the thing is about this is like, once you actually get into it, you actually only derive pleasure from the things that are that involve you going after your goal. I'll try to explain that too. Okay. So, all right, guys, instead of just explaining it by just explaining it, let me try to explain it by invertly explaining it. Okay. So anybody out there, one of you guys in the live chat or anybody watching the playback, have you guys ever felt like you might be one of those people, or even if you don't want to put yourself in that kind of camp, have you ever felt like angry and frustrated because you just simply don't get what you want out of life at all? Have you ever felt like that? Because I'd say most people do. I'd say probably like at least, I don't know, I'd say at least 80% of the population, if not more. So if you are one of those people, you not being able to do this thing, I believe, is why. And maybe that's not the only reason why. I would just say that most people can't get their goals because they're unable or unwilling to do this. Nightmare mode, when I said earlier, removing almost anything and everything from your life that is a distraction, I mean everything, like all of it, okay? Including people, including things in your house that can get in the way. So like if you have like a PlayStation or like, guys, I don't have a single TV. Okay, I lied. I have 2 TVs in my bedroom, but they're literally not plugged in. They're just there because when I moved, I just like didn't have anywhere to put them. They're basically for decoration. And you can ask any of the people that live here in Miami that I never watch TV or anything. In fact, if I were to turn this camera around, and maybe I should do that one day. Maybe I should just do like a live stream from like the living room or something. If I were to turn this camera around, so guys, where I'm at right here, this is the corner of my living room. All right, this desk right here is the corner of my living room. Behind that is traditionally where the camera actually is. Slightly behind the camera is traditionally where someone would put a TV. I have a desk there as well, and then above that desk, instead of a TV, I have a giant whiteboard. And then I also have a computer screen there and a dock for my laptop if I happen to want to sit down there. To the left of that, I have another whiteboard. And then basically, in the rest of my house, I mean, I have this like cool LED, like triangular tripod thing in the corner that's like adds light at nighttime. And I have a sofa, an old sofa, a carpet, and a coffee stand, which pretty much is for guests. And then I have a mirror. And like I have like these little things, put my trophies on and carpet, whatever. All right, I got like nothing in here, and that's because I don't. When I work in my house most of the time. Sometimes I'll go to the coffee shop or whatever. When I'm in my house, I mean, basically, guys, I work like all day long. To be completely honest with you, I work all day long. Not every single day, but for the most part, I do because that's what's required for me right now to get my desired outcome. Okay. So that's what I mean by everything. And you don't have to get like insane about it. But I did tell you guys, I warned you guys, what I was going to say tonight was going to sound unhealthy. All right. Because, you know, if you're trying to live a quote balanced in quote life and be a normal person, that wouldn't be healthy, right? That wouldn't be normal. And if we're going to equate normal to healthy, then it's not, right? It's kind of not. It's kind of strange. But I basically removed the ability for me to watch TV in my house, the ability for me to play video games. In fact, in all honesty too, like I really don't even find many video games enjoyable anymore. Maybe it's because I'm 30 now, because I'm fucking old, but or not, or games just suck now. I don't know. Anyway, I just don't really care to play video games. But even if I did, I would know that that's not going to be a valid use of my time. You can't guarantee, guys, you can't guarantee, and I mean guarantee, that you're going to get a specific desired outcome by living a balanced life. All right. You just can't. Some people can. Some people are naturally gifted at some specific thing and they can live a balanced life. All right. Whether that's they're just a genetic freak and they could just eat tuna and ramen and donuts and walk on a bodybuilding stage. Very, very few percentage of the population can do that. All right. Or whether or not they can just get on a computer and figure out how to create an entire piece of software without ever trying to learn anything, like just using Google, which, I mean, if you're an engineer, inevitably that's what you teach yourself to do, right? In fact, that's what I teach people to do at DD, us in the group. We have that same kind of mindset. You have to learn how to learn. And then once you kind of learn a little bit, then you learn how to problem solve and troubleshoot. And once you can learn how to problem solve and troubleshoot, you don't have to memorize anything because then you just know how to go and figure it out. I'm getting off on a tangent here, as always. What's new, right? But point is, most people can't. They just can't get what they want if they're living a balanced life. Now, does that mean, now hold on a second, don't freak out. Does that mean that you can't do this quote unquote nightmare mode thing, get your goal, and then balance out later on? No, of course you can. Of course you can do that. In fact, I've done that many, many times, right? I've spent insane amounts of time, sometimes up to 2 years of my life, living a certain kind of way to get a desired outcome. And then when I got it, you slowly back off and then you start balancing out again, right? But one thing you guys need to understand, and this is kind of important, and we're gonna explain it, guys. I'm gonna explain what quote nightmare mode is. All right. One thing that I think is important to note here is that if you are one of those people that sit out there and they think often like, hey, I don't have this, like, meh, I'm sad and frustrated because I don't have this thing. You have to realize that first and foremost, we all just have one life, right? Like, at least as far as like living in this planet on this three-dimensional realm, as far as I'm concerned and most people concerned, you have one life, right? And in that life, you have a window, right? You have, let's just say you're born in year X, and let's just say you're born in year 1 and you die, you're probably going to maybe die in year 69, 4/20/69, who knows, right? Even in that extended time frame, you have an even shorter time frame of that, of which you can optimally go and achieve the things that you want when you're young, right? When you have energy, when you're healthy, when you have a clear and sound mind, not when you're 80 and you have Alzheimer's and you have diabetes and your ankles are swollen. All right. You obviously can't be a go-getter. I mean, you can have go-getter's mentality, but you can't really, you can't do it to the same level as you could when you're 18, right? Like, let's just be realistic here. Okay. Be realistic, fellas. All right. So that's the point. That's when I say you have to remove things from your life. First of all, it doesn't have to be forever. It only has to be temporary, right? If you want it to, it can be forever, or you could be never, right? It could be never. But that small window, you guys need to take advantage of before it's too late, okay? Because the older you get, the more time erodes, and the less of a chance, the less energy, the less horsepower you're going to have to go out there and win that race. All right. I will be right back, fellas. What's up, guys? I'm Josh, or as you probably know me, eLift Program, and I'm here to talk to you about Developer Direction. What is Developer Direction, you might ask? We are the ultimate IT network and training academy. Ever heard of Fight Club? Yeah. It's kind of like that, but with more computing power. We teach and give courses just like boot camps, but that's not all. We help people actually get jobs, unlike colleges, and we help people get better jobs with better pay and a better life. Here at DD, you don't get grades because your performance is reflected upon by how good you're doing in the real world. You won't accumulate hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt because we offer a one-time yearly fee that's a fraction of that price. And you won't be wasting your time learning about the latest and greatest social trends because you'll be too. Oh my God, I'm so happy that I have that because I get to advertise and take breaks whenever I want. Thank you so much for that, Kyle. We should probably do a new one soon, huh? Let's see. Tom says, so many fucking crabs. Yes, very true. Nick says, Nick Sledges, I've never owned a TV. Are you for real, Nick? I don't know if I believe you. I think you're trolling. But then again, I never know when you're trolling or not. But hey, actually, Nick, I would believe that because you're a pretty, very, very intelligent person. And you're also quite driven too. Andy Mac in the house says, hello, friends. What up, Andy? Good to see you, man. Nightmare Cycles, gosh. Nightmare Cycles, thinky face emoji. You don't want to do those, trust me. They do not feel good at all. Growth comes with discomfort. Comfort creates complacent. Yes. Yes, my friend. Tom always gets it, bro. Tom always fucking gets it. All right. So another thing to mention, guys, like people often get angry, like especially I've noticed too. I've noticed that if someone else has like maybe you guys out in the audience, if you guys have something about you or your life at all that someone else has maybe been jealous of or desired, they've been more inclined to just kind of be like maybe passive aggressive to you about it. Maybe you've been like that towards other people too, right? This isn't to say that I'm like some holier than thou saint person, whatever. But I've literally tend to never be in my whole life. I have plenty of problems, trust me, guys. I do. But in my life, I've never tended to be one of those people that has been like envious in a negative way. Usually, if I'm envious of somebody, I go and try to emulate them, and I go and try to spend time with them to figure out how I can achieve the same thing. And I think that has actually helped me a lot in life. But if you are one of those people, or you know people like that, then you'll get this. Those people, they're suffering inside. All right, they're suffering because they have a lack of something. All right, they have a lack of a certain life that they want that they're unable, or rather more than likely unwilling to go and achieve. And they should really just be more so angry at themselves because they're not willing to suffer. They're already suffering, right? Like they're already kind of suffering, but they're unwilling to have a self-induced suffering that is a net positive as opposed to being a net negative, right? And the truth is, one, they're already suffering. And two, guys, number two, more importantly, you're going to suffer in life regardless, inevitably, right? Because stuff always inevitably happens. But more importantly, in context to this, you're going to suffer inevitably. So you should make the choice, or you have a choice, really, rather, you have a choice. You can choose to suffer now out of your own volition, out of your own willing to suffer, by doing away with the things in your life that are going to be preventative of you going after your goal. Or you can choose to suffer later on when you're old and you don't have the things that you want and you didn't give the effort that you knew you could have and should have given. And at that point, you're going to be too old to do anything about it. So that you have a choice. You're going to suffer regardless. And if you're already suffering, you have a choice, right? You have a choice to either suffer and get something from it, have productivity and positivity out of it, or suffer later on more so and have nothing from it, just negativity, and also not have the choice to fix it, to do anything about it, right? So, I mean, if you're just losing basic logic here, guys, just basic common fucking sense, What is going to get you? What's the best option here, guys? What's the best option? Come on. You guys know. So you have a choice. All right. You have a choice. So I think that's enough of me like preaching why this kind of philosophy is important. So instead of me just preaching, why don't I like offer you guys some suggestions of stuff that you can do? All right. One thing I've done a lot often in my life is, and this might sound absurd. And again, I remember I told you guys some of the stuff that I'm going to say is going to sound unhealthy and unnormal to most people. Number one thing you can do is you can just move to a new city, like literally just move. A city that you don't have people or friends in or family. Because when you don't have all these external people, influences that know you and are comfortable with you being at a certain place and spot and with their image of you and their idea of you in your head, that is going to allow you to mentally free yourself first and foremost. But second of all, you're going to be free of distractions. You're not going to have anybody hitting you up. You're not going to have the boys hitting you up every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Like, hey, dude, we got to go get beer and wings. If you're trying to lose weight or if you're trying to study for something, right? And it's also just going to put you it's like hitting the refresh. It's like rebooting your computer. It's like doing a hard reset and refresh on the Chrome tab in your cache, per se. So that's what I think is probably one of the biggest things that you can do. The next biggest thing, and maybe this might actually be the bigger thing, but flip back and forth, whatever one is more important to you, is you have to basically like, and this is going to sound either strange or tricky, but it's because it is both. But you have to be able to trick yourself into enjoying the things that you don't enjoy, but you want to do, right? Because in actuality, you want to do them. And maybe if you actually started doing them, you would love it. If you do this, it'll work. Yeah, but you have to trick yourself to enjoying the things that are currently hard for you to do, and then to not enjoying the things that you currently like to do. So if you currently like to sit in front of the computer and play video games for 5 hours a day, you need to trick yourself into not doing that. Let's just say you want to learn how to be a day trader and you have to get better at just TA. Like, you should be doing that for 5 hours a day instead. You have to trick yourself. You have to transmute that pleasure from one thing to another. And eventually when you do, your pleasures invert. You'll feel uncomfortable when you're not doing something that you should be. And it makes it a whole lot easier. All right. So those first two things I think are the biggest, probably things that can help. Especially the moving part, guys, right? And I know the moving thing sounds fucking crazy, but trust me, I've done it several times in my life. That's probably one of the biggest things you can do is just move somewhere. For real, just give it a try. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to come move to Miami, Florida. Like, you can go to just, I don't know, go to Kansas. Another thing, guys, is, and the moving part may or may not fix this because you might move somewhere where you know people. Friends. No distractions. Like, you can't have any friends. You can have friends. There's a caveat to that, and we'll get there in a second. But if the friends in your life are like the people that I mentioned before, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's like it's going to be unproductive for you to have them in your life, right? You can be cool with them. You can keep them at a healthy distance. You can just text them once a week or something like that. They're probably not going to like that, to be honest with y'all, but I'm sorry. It's just the truth. It's the only friends that you can have are people who are either better than you at something or people of the same exact mindset, people with you together on a goal, or they're sharing a similar goal, so that you don't have to worry about them trying to like bang your door at 3 a.m. because they want you to get drunk with them and you're sleeping and you got like work the next day at 8 o'clock, right? You don't have to worry about any of that stuff because they're going to be good people, right? Preferably better if you have both. And then honestly, guys, if you have friends like that are good people, like that's a rarity these days. So you should hang around with people and keep those people in your circle. But The friends, that's the only exception. All right, guys, that's it. And this one probably going to be the hardest for some people to accept, but I mean, it's the truth. All right, it's just the truth. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to y'all. Family. If you got family members who are in any way, shape, or form going to deprecate your ability to be a go-getter and get up and go after your shit, you can't be super active with them. Like, I'm sorry, it's just the truth. If you have if your family is just good people, like they're just boomers. Like my family's pretty much got good people. They're just boomers. What you can do is you can just keep them at a healthy distance, right? Like you don't have to involve them in 100% everything in your life. You can still love them, obviously. You can still talk to them, but you don't have to talk to them on the phone 8 times a day, every single day. All right. Obviously be there for them if they're, if you absolutely need to. Like if one of them's going to pass away, you should, right? But like, you don't need to go visit them every single time that something like if your family has like 18 parties a year, like my family does, you don't have to go and visit them all 18 times. All right. Healthy diet. The reason for that's pretty simple. One, when you're healthy, like you're physically healthy, everything runs more optimally. And I'm not saying like do a 4 ice cube and 2 almonds per day bikini competitor diet, right? Like you guys probably just generic healthy diet. Okay. You don't even have to weigh your food or anything like that. Just generic healthy diet, because you're going to be literally clean. Like your insides are going to be clean. Your organs are going to be efficient. Your brain's going to work better. And then also, that's like a dopamine reduction. All right. It's like a slight dopamine reduction. And the less dopamine you have from things that are probably bad for you, the better. The more dopamine you're going to get for doing the things that are good for you. No drugs, no alcohol, obviously. The only exception to that I would say is like, because I've been able to pull this off for a while, not currently, but many times in my past. I have very bad insomnia, guys. Unless everything I'm doing is like 100% in sync, I always have problems falling asleep at night. My mom and my mom's mom all have insomnia. Like they like never fucking slept when I was a kid, ever. Still don't. So if you smoke weed to go to sleep at night, then and you have the discipline to just literally do what I'm about to say, then it's okay. But otherwise, you can't. Nothing. Sorry, nada, none. Zip, zero, ocho, nada, because it's gonna cloud your brain. But I mean, what I had to do sometimes was like literally load a bowl and literally like corner it and take one hit, and that was it, enough to make me fall asleep. And actually, if you're out there and you're a pothead, you're probably like, man, that's not gonna be enough, bro. Your tolerance would be better, bro. Like your tolerance would I used to do that. I used to like smoke one hit, not even fully inhale it, and I would just get super, super knocked out of my mind because like I wasn't a stoner, right? So you don't have to like think that that's absurd. And I know a lot of people smoke weed these days, and if you just need it to do that, then that's okay. But if you have an unhealthy relationship, no. Sorry, can't do it. All right. What else? Social media for business purposes only. Like, don't be like on Instagram till 3 a.m, just like browsing through all kinds of shit. All right. Obviously, I think you guys know the reason why. I mean, you all saw the stuff with Facebook and they're courting the courts and all that stuff, right? And also, I would say, at the very least, frequently remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing and what it is that you're after. Write it on the wall if you have to. Write it on a piece of paper, whatever. But just remind yourself, because in the beginning, in the end, it might not be as hard, but in the beginning, it's going to be hard to like reset your brain, your body, and your mind to enjoy living like that. Afterwards, you start to actually enjoy it and you'll feel uncomfortable. But in the beginning, you have to remind yourself, okay? Now, again, to end all that explanation, that stuff, you don't have to do that forever. Like, when I'm not saying like you have to die, miserable, quote miserable, because you would probably actually be happy most likely. In fact, there's been times where like going out and like to a bar drinking was just like I'm like I have all this shit to do. Like that was miserable to me. But you can get your goal and then you can balance out after, right? And you can do this in cycles, guys. You can do this the first 3 months of the year, take a month off. 3 months of the year, take a month off. All right. Or you can do it for 1 year, take a break for a year, whatever. Gauge your stance in life and where you think you want and need to go and base it off of that. Okay, guys. Cody Moose says, anyone else get mini existential crises, then turn on nightmare mode to get accomplished something, then rinse repeat LMAO? Yeah, I mean, that's what I've done my whole life, Cody. Except mine have been like extended. Like I've been like 2 years at a time. Like there has been like times where I've literally spent 2 years of my life prepping for like one bodybuilding show. And then afterwards I was like, whew, I just want to eat a McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese. Like, and then I would just be normal for a while. And then I would feel disgusted and be like, man, I'm done being normal. This is lame. Let me go back. And that's because, you're in the improvement community, Cody. You're one of those people like me. You're just never going to be satisfied. Never, ever, ever. And it's also a problem of its own as well, guys. Andy says, I'm working on moving this spring. Good, Andy. Get the fuck out of Canada, bro. Seriously. You need to, dude. Ali Magnifico says, 100% Josh. You can reinvent yourself every time you move to a new place. Yep. And you don't have all this, like, all the negativity of the last place. Like, if you have people that you had negativity between with, like, memories and stuff like that, places that are just too easy for you to just walk in and go do things you're not supposed to do, like the bar down the street or whatever. Exactly. Yep. Then feeling like a champ wears off in like 2 weeks, and I'm back in crisis mode. Babe Bunker says, LOL, Josh, you can just call me by my name. Use my story as an example of what not to do. I mean, yours isn't the worst. Yours isn't the worst, dude. Like, I've definitely seen worse than that. But the thing is, I won't say your name, but Mr. Babe Honker, you actually are socially, you're aware enough, you're self-aware enough to know you got a problem. Dude, most people that I'm talking to, like, they don't even know like any of this, because nobody ever has anybody that's a good mentor anymore to teach them anything, right? And you've had a good mentor, Babe Honker, so like you know that kind of stuff. Actual friends want to see you win, says Tom. Yep, 100%. And they're trying to win too, bro. They're trying to win too. Amen. And he says, I'm a week off the green. Good, dude. Good, bro. Yeah, Andy, you that's another thing you got to stop doing is stay away from the ganja for real. L-glycerine to sleep at night. Yeah, that works pretty good. Melatonin, says Justin S, is great. Yeah, dude, melatonin will force you to go to fucking sleep, bro. Force you to go to sleep. Melatonin's pills are bad for you. That's the only issue, is like they are apparently, we're not here to talk about this, but apparently, like, there's been studies that your body will stop producing melatonin, blah, 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 and then, blah, 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 blah. Look, truth is, guys, melatonin, guys, actually, melatonin is a hormone. You guys didn't know it's a hormone. And any hormone, except for, like, peptide hormones, but anyway, and we're not here, again, this isn't a science class, but any hormone that you put exogenously into your body, inevitably, in X amount of time, where X can be 1 day to 30 days to 60 days, whatever. Everyone's body is different. Inevitably, in X amount of time, your body stops producing that hormone itself. All right. Which is why if you guys ever heard stories of dudes that take steroids and then their dink donk don't work, is most likely what happened is they're probably taking it the wrong way. And then or a cocktail of drugs, and then their body stops producing testosterone themselves, and their ding dong don't work. But just like with steroids, most people, if you're healthy, when you stop taking it, I mean, it starts working again. So melatonin isn't like unhealthy per se, because it's a hormone in your body, but it's something that you should use not every night, unless you actually absolutely have to. Okay. I told one of my clients today to go buy melatonin. Now I kind of feel guilty, but it's not like, guys, I've been taking melatonin on and off for like probably 10 years. I have no problems. I haven't taken it in, I don't know, 3 months. I still fall asleep at night after I'm done doing all the shit that I have to do. But yeah. 2+ years torture. How are you guys still in Canada? For real, dude. For real. Did not know that. Well, now you know. Akesh in the house says, hey, Josh, I was studying up late at night to study coding to level myself up quicker. Then go to work after, but I reached a point where I felt like passing out. In the day while working, what do you suggest I do? Like how often or how late, like how much sleep did you get? Did you get under like 5 hours? And if so, how regularly do you do that? Like, so there's this thing called the sleep bank too, guys. There's a sleep bank, and trust me, I have been the victim of bad sleep banking policies. So, like, if you have a bank account, let's just whiteboard it, guys. Let's just whiteboard it. All right. I haven't pulled the whiteboard one of these streams in a while, have I? Have I, fellas? And if you're out there and you're on the playback or you're just listening to audio, that's fine. I will still explain everything. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. So, all right. If you're to think of this like a bank account and you have $100,000 in that account, right? Now let's just take this from being dollars and put it into sleep currency. Okay. We'll just call it sleep currency. Now, every day that you don't get, let's just say, around approximately 8 hours of sleep, every night you're going to lose, I don't know, let's just say, you're going to lose X amount of sleep currency, all right? Let's just say it's 10,000, all right? 10,000 sleep currencies. So if a night you slept 6 hours, you're probably not going to lose the full 10,000. Maybe you'll lose like 8,000 sleep currency. All right. But eventually this balance. So if you deduct 6,000 here, you deduct 8,000 here, you deduct 10,000 here. All right. Then you have, I don't know, let's say overtime, ... You only have like 3,000 sleep dollars left. And they say this in like the way that they describe it to people, and this is something that people tell people who work like shift work. They do it on like a monthly basis, although it probably should be like weekly or biweekly. Once this gets to like 0, like you're gonna have severe repercussions. All right. Now, like I'm not saying that's what you're doing, right? I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but it looks like I'll read what you said. You said was trying to do it to level up faster, like we spoke a while back. I don't realize I was so behind on the stream. My bad. Also, I was getting like 4 hours. Okay. So, I mean, look, and that's okay. Occasionally, right? Especially when you just have to just bite the bullet. But eventually, you're going to have to repay your sleep debt because now you're in the negative, right? So that, like, what I would suggest do is sleep in extra on weekends. One thing, I don't know if you work a 9-to-5 job. Actually, I think you do, Akash, don't you? That's right. You're working a part-time job, I think, right? And I think you're working from home too. Are you not? Right, Akash? What I used to do, guys, when I used to actually work a wagey 9-to-5, I had to drive to work and come back. I would go and literally sleep in my car during lunch. Naps, like anytime you can fit 20 minutes to an hour of sleep in, do it. That'll help you more than anything. Because think about it. If you did like 30 minutes a day, that's what, an extra 1 to 3.5 hours. That's like almost a full night. It's almost 4 hours. It's almost a full night of sleep that you would have gotten right there since you were sleeping 4 hours, right? You work in an office. Yeah. Can you go somewhere for lunch? Can you go in your car for lunch and sleep? Find somewhere to sleep, bro. Go hide underneath something. Like, go find somewhere to sleep. I used to do it, bro. Sounds fucking crazy. I used to do it. Don't make an excuse to do it. Just do it. But yes, guys, as far as like my experience with the whole nightmare mode, because that's basically what it is. And you can get super extreme with it if you want. And you probably, the further you go into it, the more extreme you're going to get, because you're going to enjoy it and you're going to want it. You're going to be begging for it. But in my experience, I'd say like 80%, guys, of my like everything that I've accomplished in life. And I'm not saying I'm the big bad wolf or whatever, but like 80% of everything that I've accomplished in life was most likely contributed to the times that I was living like that. Okay. Honestly, right around now is at the time that I'm going to be doing that again. And And I like to start every year out with that. Like I said to you, like as you get older and further along, you don't have to do it as hardcore. You don't have to do it as much. Like one of the things I was going to say is like having a girlfriend. Dude, you can't. But if you're at a certain point, then you can have one. You can't live with her. You're not going to be able to maybe you can go out on date night like once a week or whatever, or something like that. And maybe you can play video games once a blue moon, like on the weekend for like 4 hours. But what you have to realize is that if you're going to do a little pullback like that, because you think that you've made up enough wiggle room, you're going to have to realize, guys, that the more you do it, like the more you play those video games, the more you go on those nights out to dinner, the harder it's going to be to get back into gear. The harder it's going to be to enjoy the things that you now thought were hard, but you started to enjoy them. All right. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. I have some shit I got to go do. So I love you guys. I'm out. See ya.